Professor Chandrika Vijayaratna, Vice Chancellor of University of Colombo, Dr. Rasia Penzi, the representative, Sri Lankan representative, the World Health Organization representative in Sri Lanka, Ms. Simran Singh, International Labour Organization Country Director for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Ms. Kimali Fernando, Chairperson of Sri Lankan Tourism, Professor Suranga Silva, distinguished guests, members of the organizing committee, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is indeed my honor and privilege, I consider as a privilege, to address the International Tourism Leaders Summit and also International Tourism Research Conference this afternoon. Especially standing behind a podium close to the most sacred truth relic, Sri Dalda Maligawa, and I'm happy to address you all this afternoon. I'm sure that the organizer had to cut few things here and there. I was told that certain speeches, I'm sorry about it. We being military, we work for time. There's a general, retired general, very senior general, who's supposed to be the head of this, some organization, I was told. So, nothing but I had to be in Anuradhapura for another function. That's the reason that I was trying to push for time. So for the day, this afternoon, I've been assigned to talk about national security towards sustainable tourism. This is what I have been assigned. So therefore, without much ado, I will try to take about maximum 15 minutes or so. I will try to curtail to that, and I would like to touch upon how the conditions of national security affects the tourism industry, and then deliberating something on Sri Lankan context to explain how the national security for sustainable tourism can be achieved. The security has always been an indispensable condition for travel and tourism. I hope that you all will understand security is a huge concern, and also security is, for that matter, for any aspects in, for that matter, development as well. It is a common wisdom that security become much more significant concern in the last 2 decades, since the security landscape in the world is multifaceted, complex, and it is challenging. The notion of national security today cannot be simply defined as a security over physical aggression, but the security over all aspects of life, where safeguarding of national security needs a comprehensive, interlocked, and a holistic approach. In order to stick to the subject within the given time, I would like to speak on this topic, especially 3 aspects, to deliberate as to how the national security affects tourism industry. Firstly, in regard to security, security is a comparative conception where it can induce the feelings of safety or unsafety in the minds of the people. Tourists are nothing exception to this phenomenon. It is common that even the security of tourist destination deteriorates the negative, if it deteriorates, negative image develops in the minds of potential tourists, and they tend to travel to such destination. They will not go to such destinations, and they will go for more secure places around the world than coming to such a destination. Therefore, it is imperative the destination is perceived by the tourist community as a safe place to travel. Secondly, tourism scope covers more and more countries and regions in the world, and not only highly developed countries involved in the business, but also the developing countries of the world. I don't have to explain to a gathering of this nature whether it only depends on the developed countries or whether underdeveloped countries. Therefore, we must keep in mind that tourism industry is highly competitive, and we have majority Sri Lankans here. We have competitors around the world, not only around the world, also close vicinity nearby within our region as well. When there is a big competition, any negative aspect of the domain are determined, then also primary prerequisites of the tourism is indeed the security of the nation. That is how I believe. Besides, the countries which benefit from tourism are preparing new strategies. Your chairperson of tourism, who is closely working with me at COVID-19, we see even during this stage the amount of strategy she is onto to bring the Sri Lankan tourism up. So new strategies to recover fast and to remain in the business despite the crisis occur from time to time. This is what those who are involved in the tourism industry will have to do. We must be proactive and secure the country without allowing any security measure. Thirdly, there are many experiences throughout the world where tourism have been affected by the security situations around the world. The notion is beyond ideas of physical security and includes many complicated issues such as human rights, political instability, then biosecurity, environmental concerns, military conflicts, and nowadays organizational crimes also affects to some extent. Also, naturally, the countries with frequent interruptions in the security are always considered as unsafe for travel. In the information age, the conditions of security no sooner spread around the world. No one can stop that. We are in a world of that. Today, something happening not only in Sri Lanka, this will be known by the entire world. But we talk here that fast is travel. Consequently, there are travel cost, insurance, and sometimes the cost for total travel package go high for these type of destinations, which in turn affects the tourist attraction. Definitely there will be some effects on those things. The national security has augmented benefits so as to determine when security is compromised. This is compromised, definitely there will be a massive effect onto tourism as well. As you all know, the security situation in Sri Lanka for the last 3 decades or last few decades was multifaceted and challenging. First, we have been involved in a prolonged war for almost 3 decades, and thereby you all are the people, and the people who have been involved before you all are the people who got really affected by this three decades war. And I don't have to just here tell that as to what and what hardship that you all went, what new strategies brought in to ensure that tourism will run even with the effects that we had. Also, secondly, we had another issue where with the tsunami effects in Sri Lanka, once again tourism was affected in Sri Lanka. Lastly, last year April incident once again shocked the extremist terrorist attack, had an impact into Sri Lankan tourism. But we must congratulate how the tourism managed to pick up even after the incident. Towards the end last year, I think they managed to recover with all types of strategies they would have adopted. These situations adversely affect the industry. However, soon after every hiccup, the industry in this beautiful country re-emerged, owing to the very fact that there is an indelible love within the tourist community on this country, and they eagerly wait till the security environment in Sri Lanka becomes stable. However much because of the war we could say, even though we had this issue, bombs were going here and there, still we saw how people visited this country. Because the beauty, the way that we treat tourists, and also all top of other things that the strategies that we adopt here have attracted foreigners to this country, although we had here and there issues in this country. As of today, we are facing an unprecedented global health crisis affecting all sectors of the society and also the economy. The health authorities, Triforces, and all stakeholders in Sri Lanka are doing their utmost to combat COVID-19. I am sure when delivering a lecture or speech by your chairperson will deliberate much more, because I am running short of time. I will curtail without talking much on that. While we must remain cautious on how the pandemic will affect global travel and tourism pattern, especially in time to come, it lies beyond doubt that with solidarity, courage and trust, we will re-emerge more robust than before. I personally know, I'm confident with the leadership of your Ceylon tourism today. We have seen for the last few months, Sri Lankan tourism will stand where we were never before. I'm confident, thanks to the leadership there. Therefore, as a nation, we all have a responsibility to maintain that trust by addressing all the safety concerns of the tourists. Security threats are not new to the tourist industry, because especially to a country like this, and they are as old as the industry itself, not only in Sri Lanka, around the world. As we know, the tourism has been usual target of terrorists, as it has been proven in many countries, such as Bali, then in Paris in 2015, Bangkok 2019. These are some of the areas that we got affected like this. In that sense, the Easter Sunday attack also can be attributed to the same aspect. Also, there have been many incidents where tourism affected by natural disasters like the tsunami, as well as political unrest, although we don't see this here. Further, a situation like COVID-19 can create a havoc in this industry, as it has already done to the tourism industry in Sri Lanka. We both of us are in the COVID center, we know the cry by the tourism industry as to how it has affected the Sri Lankan tourism, the COVID-19. The fact here is that no nation around the world utterly immune to threats and these shocks. What is important here is that the industry should run. This is what she is doing, this is what the Honorable Minister is trying to do, and this is what the President and the Prime Minister and the government of Sri Lanka is trying to do. Therefore, the stability of the tourism industry essentially depends on how soon it can recover. That is very important. Things can happen, but very important how soon that we can recover. As the members of the security forces, we have plans, agendas, strategies to ensure the national security is restored no sooner there is a mess up. Similarly, strategies in the tourism industry should also be robust and resilient to recover at the same time, same rate as national security is restored. I hope, as it suggests by the theme of this seminar, the resilience of the tourism industry would be discussed widely today during the course of the day. It is a point to note that ensuring a conducive environment for tourism should neither be limited to the government and Triforce's efforts, nor any citizen of this country take the condition of security for granted. Conversely, the tourism industry must invest much more in creating a safe environment for tourists. The program and action may be focused towards promoting and creating a crime-free, safe and secure Sri Lanka. In the line with His Excellency the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa's vistas for secure, disciplined and lawful society, I feel the leaders of the tourism field should think out of the box, which he is doing right now, and formulate strategies to create joint responsibilities in collaboration with local commitments, communities, tour operators, accommodation providers and police for achieving concerned security. As you all are aware, especially these days, there's a boost in the anti-drug campaign for eliminating the drug menace in Sri Lanka. The government has taken a lot of steps and established a separate task force headed by the Secretary of Defence and Side Forces commanders, even I am there, to ensure that we eradicate drugs menace in this country and underworld. We will do it, no doubt. We are going to do it. That means these task forces are being created to ensure we are building a secure country, which means the country is heading for a socially secure state. This is what the government wants to achieve. If the tourism sector also could collaborate in these prospects, we can give the security guarantee for the tourism community. More importantly, we should know that physical security is no longer the only factor that determines the safety of tourists, but other factors such as environmental security, bio and eco security, health and hygiene are also things to be considered. Hence, tourist policymakers should pay attention than ever before to these factors and invest further in safeguarding these aspects of security. We must understand that the green environment, the diversity of eco and wildlife, the culture and our hospitality, etc., are the reasons for tourists to visit our country. That has been the case for many decades in this country. Thus, these aspects are to be given more attention. These indeed are part of our national security. When we make the national security framework, we consider these things. Therefore, more than the government and the Triforces, the whole of Sri Lankan society has a collective responsibility in this regard. As the Chief of Defence Staff and the Commander of the Army, I have vested interest and obligation in ensuring the security of this country. The Triforces will ensure the country and the people are protected. Therefore, when I took office, my first endeavour was to ensure the security environment is conducive for the well-being of these people, economy and prosperity of this great nation. Till we come across the new health sector challenge, COVID-19, we have been successfully managing to ensure the physical security is in the country, is in place. We have been doing that. Although there have been various talks here and there, we have managed to ensure the security of the nation. However, as you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic was a major world disaster that held the world in standstill. Consequently, the security forces of Sri Lanka were gained and trusted with restoring and reassuring the security of this country, Sri Lanka. I am very proud to say, as the Commander of the Army and also Chief of Defence Staff, with relentless efforts of all the stakeholders who have managed to bring back the country to normalcy, whereas most of the other countries are still struggling with COVID-19. Although this has not been identified for whatever the reason, reasons can be anything. Maybe some people will not like to accept, but we could say we have done the best. The COVID-19 had only 50 days in Sri Lanka within the society. From March 11 to April 30th only, COVID-19 affected the society of this country. The leadership of the country, together with all citizens who sacrifice immensely, whether they can afford to sacrifice or not, they sacrificed, and they managed to bring the COVID-19 under control in this country. Of course, we have patients, the COVID confirmed cases in the country, due to the fact that we bring people, Sri Lankans from abroad, those who have lost jobs or those who want to come back to the country, thinking that our country is the most safest in the world during this COVID-19 pandemic. So they come, they want to come. Initially it was told to us, to our center, about 25,000 to 30,000 people want to come back. We have brought 37,000 so far. Now it says another 52,000 to be brought back. We'll never give up. We'll bring them. We'll ensure that we safely will bring them. That is the reason, only reason that we have COVID-19 in Sri Lanka. Yesterday evening, also we had to face another situation. 2 days back, we had a situation where a crew of a Russian aircraft, and people are more inquisitive. It was negative. when it was informed to us, we told that nothing to worry, it's going to be next result will be negative. It was so low, the level of the COVID. But people did not believe, people were a little panicked. Of course, that also has to be there. Today we find that people are without masks, no mask, no nothing. People think the country had never got COVID in the Sri Lanka. That is how the people behave, unfortunately. And still, thanks to all stakeholders, still manage without COVID in the country. But please be mindful that one person can create a havoc here. So therefore, we kindly request, we know that we can't, in a situation like this, in a place like this, you can't have from morning 8 o'clock till evening. But the fact remains that people should try to wear the mask whenever that you are out of your houses. Only request is that you be safe and try to see that you won't give COVID to another person. That is our request. With greatest difficulty we bring people. I would like to take this opportunity to talk about that also. When the tourism industry was hit because of this, we not only started quarantining people in the military facilities, but we gave it to the tourism industry. I am sure they, although they have not recovered fully, they at least managed to get something out of this quarantining in hotels. But today I saw some do not make the line there. We have told the person should pay 7,500 if he is sharing, if not, a single room to go as 12,500. And they are being supposed to be provided food to the room, not buffet, to ensure that there won't be a spread within the hotel. But even today I was informed there are things going in the media. Some people in this industry, unfortunately, are not giving proper food. Their food has been given, we have been sent some pictures. Every hotel being paid 7,500 per person, and we believe that they give decent meal, decent tea, and to keep their reputation and the reputation of the tourism. But unfortunately people, I saw some pictures just before I came here, very unfortunate, and we kindly request those who are providing facilities to ensure that they give the decent meal and facilities to those who have come from abroad, who pay and come for quarantine. They pay and come. So therefore they have been looked after. We know that you can't give all facilities, but decent facilities are requested even at this forum. Now we have to leap forward in the aspects of health security, passing all the countries in the region. We can do that, we have come up. Think about the countries around. Some countries were trying to be in a hurry and try to open also, get into certain traps also. But our leadership had taken very bold decisions to ensure that we are doing well. However, it is the responsibility of all Sri Lankans to maintain the situation in time to come too. More than ever before, health security has become the most critical and decisive condition for tourism at modernity. Therefore, I hope the responsible gatherings in the tourism industry today will keep the aspect of health security bold and highlighted in all their future strategies. I respect that. I wish that you will do that. As members of the Triforces, we have been the strength of the government in restoring the country in every crisis. We have come forward. We have never said no. We have never been failed. When people said no, we might not be able to win a war, we have won and we have shown. Even COVID, we have done that. And we will continue to do so in the future as well. These are the forces that we have in this country. Also, the institutions and the people of this country have made great sacrifices to safeguard the national security in the past. Everyone sacrificed for 3 decades war and thereafter. I wish to assure you that I believe that there won't be any terrorism with the leadership that we have in the country. We will not have terrorism in this country. That is for sure. And there will not be any extremism. No, there will not be any separatism to hinder the achievements of this country. We should not allow. We all citizens are responsible, and our responsibility even to provide information if such a thing is trying to commence somewhere. That's our responsibility. However, owing to the very fact that security is diverse and dynamic in today's world, future security is about the togetherness of all parties and never about the separateness of the government and the armed forces from the rest. We can't afford to do that. Therefore, I recommend that this forum will deliberate on this vital national responsibility in order to foster sustainable tourism and the prosperity of the mother Sri Lanka at large. Finally, I take this opportunity to thank the organizers of International Tourism Research Conference for inviting me this afternoon to address this gathering and also to speak to this summit. And I humbly wish organizers and all the participants the very best in all your endeavors, especially in regard to tourism and also your personal lives. Thank you to all.